When do you need an identity shift? Well, we're always in need of an identity shift, but specifically on this next episode of Unleash Your Audacious Confidence, we're going to tackle three times. Number one, when you don't recognize yourself anymore. Number two, when you don't think you deserve your success. And number three, when you're clinging to an outdated version of yourself. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome to Unleash Your Audacious Confidence on Win-Win Women TV. This show is all about sharing the tips, tools, and techniques that will allow you to step boldly in the direction of your dreams despite your feelings, fears, or past failures. To imagine what's possible for yourself and live the life you deserve. Well, welcome to this episode of Unleash Your Audacious Confidence here on Win-Win Women TV. I'm so excited to have you today because we have an amazing show for you, and we're doing some new things over here on Red Carpet CEO that I know you're going to be excited about, and I'm excited to tell you about it. But first of all, there is a uh, International Women's Day Summit coming up for Win-Win Women for Women's History Month in March. So go to go to our website and you'll see a link for Win-Win Women, and you can click on that link and it will take you to that site and you can register for our summit. It's going to be amazing. And if you want to connect with me, of course, you can always go to alicia360.com. So today's episode, we are talking about when you need an identity shift. And this was sparked, as you noticed, my hair has changed over the last few weeks. And when this happened, I realized I don't know how to see myself. Like, it changed my identity without me even recognizing that it changed my identity, and it impacted my confidence. And I didn't even realize that either. I did not realize how I was showing up differently until I stopped to think about it and see, why am I showing up that way? So I wanted to do this show on when you need an identity shift, because sometimes it happens to you, and because you're not conscious about it, you don't realize what has happened. So here are some times that you may have gone through something and your identity shifted for you without you even recognizing it. And this is when now you have to be conscious about creating the identity that you want to live in. So maybe you got married. Well, let's just start with graduating from college, high school, college, graduation. Now you're stepping into adulthood. That's one. Two, getting married. You shift your identity when you get married, whether you think you're not going to or not, it happens. When you have a child, when you become a mother, your identity shifts and you start doing things that you didn't ever think that you would ever do. Right? When you go through maybe a divorce, that's an identity shift. Empty nesting is an identity shift. All those things, retirement, anything that you go through, any stage in life, you need to you experience an identity shift, but you need to consciously now understand how you can continue to be powerful in those shifts and not allow those shifts to happen to you where it impacts your confidence. So I'm going to talk just for a second today about my hair again. It's like been a topic. It's been a thing. And because it's impacted me and I've been able to think through different ways, I wanted to share that with you. So maybe it might not be your hair, but it might be something else. Maybe you've gained weight or lost weight or something like that that's shifted. You had an illness. I have a friend who recently found out she has to have a double mastectomy. That's going to be an identity shift. And if she doesn't get in front of that, that could lead to some really emotional states. But I know she's a strong person. She'll get in front of it. So It could be a health crisis and figuring out now, who am I and how do I operate in this world? The loss of a job, getting fired. So I've given you a ton of different scenarios when in this first section of when you need an identity shift because something with you has changed. And I'm going to walk you through a three-step framework to help you make those shifts consciously, purposefully, and powerfully. Okay. The second time you need an identity shift is when you don't feel like your success is worthy, like you didn't do enough, or it didn't, you needed to do more, you needed to work harder, or something like that. And that falls under imposter syndrome. So maybe you need an identity shift to embody the success that you have and not feel like you don't deserve it or you're unworthy of it or you didn't do enough to get it. And then the third area that we need an identity shift is sometimes we feel stuck. We feel like we're not progressing, we're not moving forward, we're not in a place where we wanted to be. And then we need to have a conscious identity shift in order to move ourselves out of that place. So, the three-step framework that I'm going to talk about is to reflect, reframe, rebuild. Reflect, reframe, rebuild. And this is the exciting part. We actually have an action guide. So every show now, we're going to give you opportunity with an action guide that you can download an action guide and actually work through these frameworks that we're sharing with you so that you can experience the shift or when we talk about different things that you can experience it and let us know how you're working through it. Okay. So if you go to redcarpetceo.com/resource, resource, you'll find the action guide for this episode on when you need an identity shift. So what we're going to do, I'm going to walk you through again, because my hair, and I see this thing sticking out because of my hair, I'm going to walk you through a the framework on how I was able to shift my own identity after cutting off my hair. Because I know a lot of women are doing it. A lot of women are choosing to go natural. They're cutting their straight hair off, and some do the big chop where they take it all off and then allow it to grow. I did not do the big chop like that. I actually was using protective styles for a year, a little over a year, and then I cut off the straight. So I had some length before I actually made the shift. But it was still dramatic for me. It was still, oh, and I didn't think it would be, but it was. And let me tell you why. So reflect, okay? So when I reflected on why did it impact me so profoundly going natural? Because I remember my children always said, "Oh, mom, I want you to wear your curls. I want you to wear your natural hair. We don't know what it looks like. We want to," and they kept asking me for years, "Why don't you stop straightening your hair?" And I was like, "Nope, not doing it, not doing it, not doing it." But then my health situation changed and it forced me to look at the things that I was doing that was creating that kind of environment in my body. And one of the things that I decided to do was remove as many chemical treatments, as many chemicals from my routine as possible. Hair relaxer, hair straightener is very toxic, caustic. And so that needed to go. And I was fine with just once I got over my own ideas of braids and having my hair in crochet braids, I started enjoying it because it was freeing because I didn't have to do anything with my hair. It's just like, whoop, every 6 weeks I just get it redone and I was good to go for another 6 weeks. until I couldn't get an appointment to get it redone over the holidays. And I had to take it out. And now I'm like, what do I do with my hair? I don't know what to do with my hair. I've never worked with my natural hair since I was 14 years old. I don't know what to do with it. And when I was 14 years old, even then, I didn't know what to do with it. And it was always, well, I wouldn't say it was a hot mess, but it wasn't neat. I would leave home with it looking decent, and then the humidity would hit it, and then it would be like, so I started to reflect. And the voice in my head that I was hearing about my hair was from my mother. My mother, when I was 3.5 years old, said that my hair was as unruly as I was, and she cut it all off. She said, nobody could deal with your hair. Nobody could deal with you, right? You're just unruly. You don't listen, blah, blah, blah. And that voice became amplified in my head that my hair's unruly, my hair's a mess, my hair's a frizzy mess. That's one of the words she uses, a frizzy mess. And I didn't know how to deal with it. So even though consciously I was like, well, you know, I'm going to do this. No problem. We'll figure it out. Subconsciously, I was freaking out because of the belief that I had about my own hair. The belief that I had that it was a frizzy mess and I'm going to look unprofessional, unkempt. I was going to look ridiculous. So in that reflection piece, I started really digging into why I felt the way I felt about it. And then I started to reframe, reframe it, because I always believed that straight hair was more glamorous, that it was more acceptable, that it was more professional, and all the things that I believed. So now that I didn't have that, I had to reframe what it meant to me and what, when I looked in a mirror, what that looked like. What did it look like in the mirror? Because I've said this before, a mentor of mine says this, that you don't see with your eyes, you see through your eyes with cells of recognition. So through my eyes, I was recognizing frizzy, messy, uncontrollable, unkempt, unprofessional. That's what I was recognizing when I looked in the mirror. So how could I reframe that? So I had a conversation with a friend of mine about glamour, right? I said, well, I feel like a little kid again. I feel like I'm 14 years old. I don't feel like a woman. I don't feel glamorous. I was like pouring out all the things I didn't feel now that I had my hair the way it was. And she said, you know what? I don't see it as glamorous either. It's not glamorous. It's very chic. And I was like, ooh, chic. I like that. I could work with chic. So she and I did, she's my photographer, by the way. So she and I decided that we're going to do a photo shoot with my new look. And I played on that belief, that word, that, what that could mean for me, this idea of being chic. And so we did the photos. And if you go to my social media, go to alicia360.com. We're starting to roll some of these photos out. You will see some of the photos that we took. And so if you go to alicia360.com, you'll see links to my different social media platforms that you can just go ahead and follow and connect on those media platforms. But I thought, okay, I can be chic. So that was my reframe, being chic. And then the rebuild now was, how do I learn how to operate with what I have? No longer whining and mourning and complaining about what I don't have anymore, which was, long straight hair. How can I work with what I have? So I learned how to operate my hair so it's not a big, poofy, frizzy mess. And I'll tell you the truth, I'm actually starting to love my hair like this now. I really am. Because again, you see through your eyes with cells of recognition. So I started reframing it. So I started seeing something differently and I started operating with it differently. And even though it takes me more time in the morning to do it, it still feels really good and empowering and amazing to to work with it. So that's kind of how I step through that three-step process. And I want you to download this action guide that we have for you. If you go to redcarpetceo.com/resource and download the action guide, because it's going to like ask you questions and it's not long. It's a short three-step process with just 3 pages, but there are prompts there that will help activate for you the those 3 steps. Okay? Reflect, reframe, rebuild. So let's talk about now if you have imposter syndrome. Whoa, well, I know about that. I've had imposter syndrome too. I've dealt with that. In fact, it's something that tries to creep in every now and then when I'm about to do something bigger. So that's when when that imposter syndrome sneaks in, it's about I'm about to do something bigger. So that when you reflect on it, why do I feel this way? Why am I experiencing this right now? Why am I feeling uh, like I don't deserve my success or what I'm doing is not good enough? I'm not worthy of this. Where does that come from? So the same thing with my hair. There is a voice inside of you that came from somewhere. Could be a teacher, could be a parent, could be a friend, a frenemy. It could be, someone from your school days. Someone said something to you sometime in your life that made you feel inadequate, made you feel small, made you feel like you were unworthy or you didn't belong. Identify that voice. So that's in the reflect area. And then you want to reframe it. And one great way to reframe it is to have your a list of your wins, a list of the things that you accomplished. And it's like, wow, what? I did that? Oh my gosh. You know, when someone reads your bio, like if you're going on an interview or something and someone reads your bio and you're listening to someone else say it, and it's like, who is that person? That's what you need to do. You need to have a greatest hits of the things that you just knocked it out of the park when you did it. And you yourself don't even know how you accomplished that. Because in when you get to that reframe, you want to pull that out and recognize who you are in those things. So you can reframe that the place that you're feeling that imposter syndrome in. And it could be like just before you do an interview or you step on stage to speak, that imposter syndrome could creep in. And that's a time, and Mel Robbins says this, that you count backwards from 5 to 1 and you take deep breaths in between because it calms your central nervous system and you're able to think and relax and move on. So you want to reframe by really bringing back up your greatest hits. And then the last one is rebuild. And then when you're reading those greatest hits, it rebuilds your confidence again in who you are, that bad mama jamma that you are. And you can move forward, right? So this 3-step framework works in any situation that you're in. The third situation we talked about is you're stuck between who you are and who you want to be. And that's just a question of taking action. When it comes down to it, it's really a question of taking action. Are you taking action or are you not taking action? So reflect again. Am I taking the right actions that I need to take in order to get me from here to there? Am I doing the things I need to do? And I bet you're not. If you're feeling stuck, it's because you're not doing what you need to do to get you to where you want to be. But your subconscious mind is in control. And so it's throwing all kinds of situations at you, all kinds of distractions, all kinds of things are coming your way to keep you stuck. Because believe it or not, being stuck is safety. It's safe for your subconscious mind because it already knows where you are and it wants to keep you safe. So you're feeling stuck because to your subconscious mind, that's safety. So what do? You reflect and you say, okay, why am I feeling stuck? What am I supposed to be doing? And then once you have reflected on that, then you reframe it. And instead of feeling stuck and saying I'm stuck, I'm like, okay, I need to reframe this. These are the action steps that I need to take in order to get where I'm going. So instead of being down on yourself and beating yourself up for not getting there, today is day one. Let's move forward. So you're reframing, not reframing your identity, but reframing how you see the situation. Start day one. You know, they say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. So start planting your tree today. So that's your reframe. And then you're rebuilding. So now you're rebuilding on your goals and your dreams and the action steps that you need to take to get there. Again, you just use that simple 3-step framework. So I am going to share what the action guide looks like so that when you get there, you can pull it up. You go to redcarpetceo.com and bring up your action guide. And when you do that, I want you to fill it out and then go to alicia360.com, connect with me, and DM me or email me and let me know how it went. I want to hear from you. Okay. So you can DM me, send me a DM message about it, or you can email me, support at aliciacrew.com, support at aliciacrew.com. And when you, uh, when you do that, I will respond to you. Trust me, I do. I respond to DMs, I respond to comments, and I respond to messages. So this is what it looks like, right? When you need an identity shift action guide. So you're going to go through this action guide. Identify when you feel stuck. Write down your current feelings and what's holding you back. See, it's really simple. Reframe. Envision your desired identity. Write down 3 ways to view yourself differently. And then rebuild. One of the things that you can do to rebuild is ask for feedback. So you see how simple that is? That's not difficult at all. All of us could do that. So go ahead, go to redcarpetceo.com/resource and pick up your action guide today. All right. So finally, I want to talk a little bit about the upcoming summit that we have for you in Win-Win Women. If you didn't get a chance to see our post yet or to register, or you're not on our email list, which if you download the action guide, that will get you on our email list so you don't miss some of these amazing announcements that we have for you. So when you get that action guide, you'll be on our email list. But the summit, we have, oh my gosh, I think over 50 women that's going to be sharing over the week between March 1st and March 8th. And it's going to be phenomenal. I'm going to be one of the speakers, and I'm talking about boosting your confidence and amplifying your visibility using an alter ego. I know for the last few weeks I've talked about building your power persona, your alter ego, but we're going to get into that. And guess what? We're going to have an action guide for that too, so that you can build out your power persona. So make sure to follow me on social media so you see when that comes up so that you can get your ticket. We are giving away free tickets, and you don't want to miss that ticket giveaway so that you can come. And even if it's just one day that you can come to the summit, I believe I'm speaking on March 3rd. March 3rd is when I'm speaking. And it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be a fabulous time. So make sure you grab your tickets and you come to that summit. Okay, I have a few minutes left on the show, and I want to share a little bit more on this identity shift because it's so crucial for us to consciously build who we want to be. It is so crucial. So many times we walk through life in neutral, just allowing things to happen to us, and we're not taking the time to carefully construct what we want our lives to be or what we want our futures to be. I don't want women to remain stuck. I don't want women to feel like they can't move forward. I want women to embrace their confidence and be so powerful and unstoppable because we deserve to feel that way. We deserve to experience life that way. Whether we are in a couple, we're married, we're single, we have children, we don't have children. Instead of allowing society to dictate who we are, we need to carefully create who that is and in a very authentic way. Our authenticity is not something that we've taught how to be. We've not taught how to be authentic in who we are. And it's an opportunity for us when you make an identity shift to really dig into what is authentic to us. You know, I have this book, The 7 Secrets to Audacious Confidence. If you grab that ebook, which is also on our website, if you grab that ebook and go through it, there are 7 steps in there to help you really uncover your authentic, unique self. Because we don't take time to do that work. And what my goal is always to help women peel back the layers and discover that. So if you want to do more of that, if you want to step out with audacious confidence, if you want visibility, if you want a personal brand that is just magnetic, that's some of the work that we help you with and we can help you with. We also work with organizations and helping teams and leaders. But the thing that I'm most passionate about is working with you on making sure that you are confident, you're bold, and you're stepping out and achieving the things that you want to achieve in this life. And so don't forget to go ahead and download our action guide for today. Connect with me on social media, and I will see you on another show right here on Unleash Your Audacious Confidence. And until then, I want you to be bold, to be brave, and every day to do one thing to step out with audacious confidence. I will see you next time on another episode right here on Win Win Women TV. Turnover. It's incredibly expensive for any organization, but especially those that are small and mid-size. If you're an organization and you're hiring, it's so important to get it right. You need to identify the right people for the right roles. Here at Audacious Concepts, Inc., we help you perfect your hiring process so you get it right every single time. Reach out to us at audaciousconceptsinc.com